Flaming 1840s.
Hello, my name is Haley, and I'll talk to you today about the Flaming 1840s.
Hello, my name is Mackenzie, and I'll tell you about the Flaming 1840s. Some popular foods of the time: Irish soda bread, pork steaks, head cheese, corn pastries, roly-poly pudding, Concord grapes, chicken salad, sourdough bread, Eliza cookies, pesto, and peanut brittle.
Here are some very notable findings. Elias Howe patents the sewing machine. Samuel Morse invents the telegraph. The AMA is founded. Jamie Marshall discovers gold. The border is separated between U.S. and Canada. And the California gold rush begins in 1849. Here's an interesting fact for you. Ireland had a potato famine during this time.
Let's start playing Talk Turkey, Arm to the Teeth, As the Crow Flies, and Knock One Socks Off.
Here are some popular names. For a boy, Lemuel, and for a girl, Dane.
A very popular song was Buffalo Gals by the Children. In 1844, John Hodges, the man who wrote this, was called Cool White. Let's talk about politics.
William Harrison wins the 1840s election, and Ireland's potato famine brings immigrants to America.
The AMA is founded. Elizabeth Blackwell becomes the first female doctor in the world. And did I mention there was a Mexican-American battle or war?
Let's talk fashion. In this time, a bonnet was used more commonly when they were dressing, and
men wore tuxedos and special shiny shoes. The end.
Hi, my name is Brett Irvin. Today I'm going to talk about the 1900s. These are some famous people of the 1900s. The Wright brothers, Henry Ford, Susan B. Anthony, Scott Joplin, Pablo Picasso, and Teddy Roosevelt. The Wright brothers were the first to fly a controlled airplane. Pablo Picasso introduced Cubism. Henry Ford invented the Model T car. Scott Joplin published The Entertainer.
My name's Ty, and I'm going to talk to you about the 1900s. Presidents were William McKinley, who was shot by Leon Gonzalez in 1901. Teddy Roosevelt took William McKinley's place. Some inventions of the 1900s were the Brownie box camera, the Model T, the Daily Express, and the Mercedes. For fashion, boys wore tuxedos with hats, and girls wore dresses and had feathers in their hats. Later on is discovered. Some foods were channel catfish, pork tenderloins, omelets with jelly, and chicken fricassee on the main course. Appetizers were cantaloupe, sliced oranges, young onions, sliced tomatoes, and new radishes. For entertainment, they had books and radios. These are some famous songs of the 1900s. Mr. Dooley by James Schwartz, and In the Good Old Summertime by George Evans.
Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Hello, my name is AK, and I'm going to tell you about the 1910s. Famous people and influences. W.D. Boyce founded the Boy Scouts of America on February 8, 1910. Jim Thorpe, an American Indian, won gold medals at the 1912 Olympic Games for the decathlon and pentathlon. Willa Cather published O Pioneer in 1913. President Woodrow Wilson signs the Jones-Shafroth Act on March 2, 1917. Politics. Congress declares war on Germany on April 6, 1917. Arizona became the 40th state on February 14, 1912. The 18th Amendment was ratified on January 16, 1919. Slang. You're a goon, bean, which means head, eat it, cootie, earful, gander, goof, keen, lay off, mush, and pokey.
Hello, my name is Olivia, and I'll talk to you about the 1910s. The Titanic struck an iceberg on April 14, 1912. Fashion. Most women wore long dresses with long sleeves and hats, and sometimes wore long sleeves with long shirts. Entertainment. For TV, they watched Mutt and Jeff, The Perils of Pauline, and silent films. For games, they played ping pong, Tinker Toys, and Raggedy Ann. The music that was popular then included jazz, and it was also the ballroom decade. One popular song of the 1910s was By the Light of the Silvery Moon by Billy Murray. A few fun facts include the following. 8 members of the Chicago White Sox got banned from playing baseball after purposely losing a game, and a fire killed 146 workers at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory on February 8, 1910.
Hello, my name is Megan, and I'll be talking to you about the 1910s. Men wore hats, suits, and sometimes dress pants. They wore bow ties and regular ties. Some men even carried canes for looks. A few popular foods were moon pies, Oreos, Hostess cupcakes, and fortune cookies. In the 1910s, the neon light was invented. Aluminum foil was also invented in the 1910s. The end.
Hello, my name is Sam, and today we will be talking about the Roaring Twenties.
Hi, I'm Brent. Today I'll talk about the Roaring Twenties.
Some popular foods of the time were popsicles, Reese's, Velveeta, Wonder Bread, Baby Ruth, Yoo-Hoo, and Kool-Aid. In 1922, Lee LaBelle and DeWitt Wallace published Reader's Digest. Radios and newspapers were the primary source of info. The Jazz Singer was the first ever motion picture with sound. Winnie the Pooh was published in 1926. KDKE was the first radio station to give out regular broadcasts in 1920. F. Scott Fitzgerald published the book The Great Gatsby. Ford Motor Company produced 15 million cars by 1920. And Charles Lindbergh flies across the Atlantic.
The inventions. The car radio and the loudspeaker. The traffic light and the liquid fuel rocket. The Band-Aid, the yo-yo, the notebook, and the notebook. Important changes. Ladies were given equal rights. Byrd and Bennett flew over the South Pole. The first Winter Olympics were held in 1924. And in 1920, President Woodrow Wilson resigned.
What have you got there?
Okay, we got some Baby Ruth. Some Reese's.
Why was the Baby Ruth called that? Do you remember?
It was because Grover Cleveland's daughter's nickname was Baby Ruth. Then we got some Reese's. And some fashion.
Hold up that fashion a little more. Okay. Finished?
One popular song was When You're Smiling by Louis Armstrong in 1929.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Jared, and I'll be talking about the 1940s.
Hello, my name is Connor, and today I'll talk about the 1940s.
In the 1940s, Spam was a very popular food. Meatloaf was also a very popular dish. Corned beef sausages became very popular, and corn dogs were a very popular fair food.
Some famous people and influences are Anne Frank hidden on July 6, 1942. Charles Yeager was the first person to break the sound barrier. George Orwell publishes 1984 and 1949. Walt Disney wins an Academy Award in 1943.
America gets involved in World War II. NASCAR holds its first modified stock car race. Mount Rushmore is completed, and Tupperware is sold in department stores.
Some inventions and cures. The microwave oven was invented. Velcro was a major invention. Streptomycin was a cure for tuberculosis.
Marvel Comics introduces Captain America. The book 1984 is published. Band leader Alton Glenn Miller disappears while flying to Paris, and Der Fucher's face wins an Academy Award.
Some interesting facts. The U.S. residential population reaches 132,164,569. New York City is the largest urban place. There were only 48 states in 1940. Minimum wage was 48 cents an hour.
One popular song of the 1940s was Let It Snow by Samuel Kahn and Jules Sterling during one of the hottest summers on record.
Hello, my name is Noah, and I'll be talking to you about the 1960s. Some famous people of the 1960s include John F. Kennedy, John Wayne, and the Beatles. The Beatles were formed in 1960. The Beatles included John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Stuart Sutcliffe. John F. Kennedy became president in 1961. He was later assassinated in 1963. And one popular song of the 1960s was Yellow Submarine by the Beatles in 1969.
Hello, my name is Hunter. I'll be talking to you about the 1960s. The Beatles, Sesame Street, the Munsters, the Peanuts, Four Corners, and Spider-Man were entertainment in the 1960s. About 180 million people lived in the U.S. during the 1960s. The computer, the floppy disk, the video cassette, the microprocessor, liquid crystal display, the calculator, the ATM, the contact lenses, an artificial heart, barcode scanner, and the computer mouse were invented in the 1960s. Chicken breast, stuffed tea, stuffed mushrooms, white rice, coffee, rolls, chicken curry, spaghetti were all foods in the 1960s. People wore brightly colored clothes, dresses, and suits in the 1960s.
Hello, my name is Clay, and I'll talk to you about the 1960s. The Vietnam War was in 1965 through 1969. John Wayne also won an Oscar. The first Super Bowl was held in 1967, and it was the Green Bay Packers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Apollo 11 landed on the moon in 1969. Some foods were Gatorade, Pop-Tarts, red velvet cake, and chicken wings.
Where's your fashion?
The end.